Coming up, in the spotlight, Vice President Kamala Harris taking center stage this week at the Democratic National Convention, formally accepting her party's presidential nomination. We'll take you behind the scenes and talk about this historic presidential candidate switch for the Democratic Party. Then, making the grade, some important tips for starting the new school year. Also ahead, my kind of town. We're in Chicago with everything you need to know about one of the country's largest cities, from its gorgeous skyline to the lakefront and a lot more. And some fun facts that may surprise you.
A lot of people misunderstand Chicago pizza and they think we're a one-trick pony.
Plus, our picture of the week is capturing America's hearts and making a difference.
We're back!
Kids from Peoria, Illinois are turning lemons into lemonade for a good cause.
It feels really good, just like helping, like of course St. Jude, but even the community.
This is NBC Nightly News, Kids Edition.
Welcome back to Nightly News Kids Edition. It is so great to be with you guys. I am in Chicago, Illinois this week. It's a beautiful day here and always fun to visit this city, a place I called home for many, many years. Well, we have a terrific lineup in store for you, including a new record just set by WNBA rookie Caitlin Clark. Plus, a little later on, we'll say hello to some friends of ours who have been a part of Nightly News Kids Edition since the program started back in 2020. And deep dish or thin crust, you decide. But first, let's begin with one of the top stories making headlines this week, and that's the presidential election. Former President Donald Trump became the official Republican presidential nominee last month at the Republican National Convention in Milwaukee. He is seeking a second term in office. Meanwhile, the Democratic National Convention is taking place this week here in Chicago. And Democrats are rallying around the party's new presidential nominee, Vice President Kamala Harris, as she is set to officially accept her party's presidential nomination. Our good friend Jacob Soboroff takes us behind the scenes of the convention.
Lester, thank you so much. Hi, kids. It's Jacob. I'm here on the floor of the Democratic National Convention in Chicago, Illinois. And you might wonder, what is the Democratic National Convention and what happens behind the scenes? My kids, Noah, who's 8, and Lucia, who's 4, are always asking me what happens at work. Well, this is what work is today. The Democratic National Convention is where Vice President Harris will officially become the candidate for President of the United States. And let me show you what happens here. Come with me. So one of the things that a lot of people don't know is when speakers are up on that stage up there, they're actually, a lot of them, reading words off what's called a teleprompter. See those two big TVs right there? There's not any words on them right now, but when their speakers are on the stage, they're big words that are scrolling up and down that monitor right there that basically are the speech that they give. All of these different seats, you guys, are delegates. Delegates are people who come from all over the country in order to represent their state once this nomination happens, or as this nomination happens. Let me show you the different delegations all around the floor. So all these people are delegates. The people in the yellow vests, by the way, are volunteers. This guy, I talked to you yesterday, right?
Yes.
You've been a volunteer. You've done this how many times?
3 times.
3 times. He's the guy who says you can go this way, you can go that way, you can't do this. Can I go around that?
Of course.
Okay,
Yeah.
see, he's letting me through the red tape. Come on. We're talking to kids on NBC Nightly News Kids Edition right now. Thank you so much. So, thank you very much. All of these places are for different states in the union, and as you guys know, there's 50 states in the United States. This state right here is California, and the reason that California is up front is because Vice President Harris is from California. Guess what? So am I. All the California delegates get great seats because that's the Vice President's home state. This is what it looks like all around the arena before the main festivities happen, and as it gets kicked off, it gets busier and busier and busier. Come with me up close to the stage. How are you?
I'm great.
See, you meet the nicest people on the floor of the convention.
Up.
Are you fired up?
I'm so fired up, so energized, so much life now today. It's almost like feeling the feeling when Obama was running his race.
I'm talking to the kids on the Nightly News Kids Edition right now. And kids, isn't that cool? People get really, really excited because this means a lot to you.
Yes, it means a great lot to me because the future is theirs.
The future. She's right. You're right. What is your name?
Michelle Reed.
Michelle, it's so nice to meet you. I'm Jacob.
Pleasure,
It's
Jacob.
nice to see you. Michelle's right, guys. The future is yours, and what happens at these conventions is all. Bye, Michelle. See you later. Is all about the future. This is as close as I can get, but let's see if I can. Oh, so sorry. Let's see if I can sneak up here. Right here. Sneak up here, guys. This barricade is here to prevent anybody from going up on the stage. But if you look right up there, that gentleman right there is doing a little bit of practice. But that's where some of the most important people in the world of politics from around the country go up there to talk to people, not just people here in the arena in Chicago, but people all around the nation. It's a very special experience to be here on the floor. I'm really excited to be able to share it with you guys, and I hope one day you guys can come here too. Back to you, Lester.
Jacob, thanks so much for taking us behind the scenes. What a great view. Well, earlier this week, Vice President Kamala Harris made a point to thank President Joe Biden, and we witnessed something that's never happened in modern American history. A sitting first-term president, Joe Biden, making his case for his second in command, Kamala Harris, instead of a second term, and passing the torch to a new generation.
I've got 5 months left in my presidency. I've got a lot to do. I intend to get it done. It's been the honor of my lifetime to serve as your president. I love the job, but I love my country more. Selecting Kamala was the very first decision I made when I became our nominee. And it was the best decision I made my whole career. We've not only gotten to know each other, we've become close friends. She's tough. She's experienced, and she has enormous integrity.
For more on the presidential election, we're joined by our good friend and NBC News presidential historian, Michael Beschloss.
The most important thing that happens at the Democratic Convention in Chicago this week is that they formally recognize the candidate for president, who is Kamala Harris, and the candidate for vice president, who is going to be Tim Walz. Kamala Harris brings us a lot of historical firsts. She is the first Black woman to be nominated by a major party, the first woman of Indian descent to be nominated by a major party, and at the same time and in the same breath, we have to say this is a woman of tremendous experience at all levels. She was a prosecutor, she was an elected district attorney, an attorney general, and senator from California, and vice president. So aside from all these firsts, she's an amazingly accomplished woman. If you were coming from Mars and you knew nothing about Democrats or presidents or very much about our politics, you would be able to watch this convention 4 days this week, watch the speakers, listen to what they say, listen to the music, look at the kind of sights and sounds that you see and hear, and get an idea of who the Democrats are, what they want to do, and who their nominee is. We won our independence in a war against the British king in the 18th century. The king made all the decisions. There was nothing that the people could really do to influence the king. What a party convention like the Democrats in Chicago this week is doing is saying, over 4 days, this is who we want as our president and vice president. This is what we want them to do. At its best, our democracy is when Americans all vote for a president and a vice president and other political offices, knowing as much as possible about who they are and what they want.
Michael, thanks very much. Well, meantime, summer break is unfortunately coming to an end for some kids as students across the country are starting to head back to school. And here with some important tips on how you can get your school year off to a great start is math teacher Deidre Kelly from Texas, who we were introduced to by our sponsor, Walton Family Foundation.
So whether you're about to start the new school year or you're already at school right now, here are some tips that you can use to get you through this school year. You got this. Something to keep in mind is just, to me, to stay positive. You know, have a positive mindset, a positive attitude, because you are going to face challenges. And so if you embrace those challenges and then see them as opportunities for growth, you can set yourself up. And, you know, everybody makes mistakes. So that's okay, because we all do. A tip for kids who are having a subject that is not their favorite is to set mini goals up for themselves to achieve those bigger goals that they're looking for, and to just go to tutorials, something extra, take that extra practice. Practice makes progress. That's what I say. One thing I loved when I was in school is I just joined activities, organizations, just to keep me involved in school and to meet new people. You got to start practicing on how to study again. You have to make sure that you're doing it in a timely manner, not waiting till the last minute before you go to bed to start studying, because now it's time for bed instead. I tell my own actual personal kids that too. And so, you know, keeping that healthy life balance of making sure that you have your activities, but then you're also getting studying, because, you know, all these after school activities going on as well. Definitely managing your time is huge. Every new school year is pretty much a chance for fresh starts, new experiences. And so you just want to embrace those experiences and that journey that you're about to go on, because, you know, you can always say it's the best year yet. It's the best year yet. So just keep making it the best year yet every single year.
Deidre, thanks very much. Okay, time now for our pop quiz. The question this week: in which country do students go on summer break in December and January? Is it A, Italy, B, South Korea, or C, Australia? I'll give you a few seconds to think about it. All right, time's up. The answer is C, Australia. In Australia, the summer break for government schools typically lasts several weeks and takes place in December and January. The seasons in the southern hemisphere, where Australia is located, are opposite to those here in the northern hemisphere. In other news, Indiana Fever guard Caitlin Clark just broke the WNBA rookie assists record as her team beat the Seattle Storm on Sunday. Clark earned her 225th career assist in the second quarter of the game, passing a previous record from 1998. That is awesome. Now to our Across America series. As I mentioned, I'm in Chicago this week, a city in the Midwest famous for many things: architecture, museums, food, sports, and so much more. Check it out. Situated on Lake Michigan, Chicago is one of the largest cities in the United States, yet has a small-town feel.
So we have this city of neighborhoods. We have 76 different neighborhoods in our city. Each one is very unique. I think the greatest thing about Chicago is, you know, Daniel Burnham was this architect who rebuilt the city after the Great Fire. So in 1871, everything burns down except the water tower and the pumping station. Daniel Burnham has a chance to build a second city, that's where the term comes from, and gets to start from scratch, and brings in Frederick Law Olmsted, who built Central Park in New York City, and they create this beautiful sort of thing called City in a Garden, and they have a chance to make the front lakeshore the city's own, open to the public, 19 miles of lakefront.
The city's lakefront is a huge draw, especially if you enjoy the great outdoors. There are plenty of parks to play in, a great music scene to soak up some jazz and blues, and a ton of architecture, including Willis Tower, one of the tallest buildings in the world. On a clear day from the top, you can see 4 states: Illinois, Indiana, Wisconsin, and Michigan. And if you're not afraid of heights, you can walk on air at the Willis Tower Sky Deck. Glass boxes separate you and 103 floors below. It's a can't-miss photo op for all ages, if you dare. And guess what else? Chicago is also home to the world's only backwards flowing river. That's right. In 1900, the Chicago River was engineered to flow backwards permanently. Why? The reason was to divert sewage away from Lake Michigan's freshwater supply. And every year, the city dyes the river green for St. Patrick's Day. And if you're an explorer at heart, Chicago has many centers of wonder and discovery, like Shedd Aquarium and the Lincoln Park Zoo, one of the oldest zoos in the country. Founded in 1868, Lincoln Park Zoo is among the most established zoos in the U.S.
The zoo is home to about 200 species of animals from around the world, from the naked mole rat all the way to the towering giraffe.
And speaking of bragging rights, Chicago is a huge sports town. There are several professional teams based here, from the Blackhawks to the Bears, the Sky, and the Chicago Bulls. And yes, basketball legend Michael Jordan might have hung up his NBA jersey years ago, but he still has a ton of fans here.
It's a great sports town, obviously. I mean, very few cities have two baseball teams, right? And those passions run very deep. Northsiders for the Cubs, Southsiders for the Sox.
If you live in Chicago, you either root for the Cubs or the White Sox. Definitely not both. I had a chance to throw out the first pitch once at a White Sox game. That was pretty cool. But don't worry, Cubs fans. I've spent my fair share of afternoons at Wrigley Field, where the Cubs play. And you know what else is cool about Chicago? A few popular things were invented in this city, like brownies and the Ferris wheel. And if you visit Chicago, be sure to bring your appetite, from Italian beef to hot dogs, and of course, pizza. And if you're a pizza lover, well, Chicago is your kind of town. Many first-time visitors come to Chicago looking to sample its famed deep dish pizza.
Deep dish started in 1943 at a place called the Pizzeria. Today it is referred to as Pizzeria Uno.
But, yeah, there's a but.
A lot of people misunderstand Chicago pizza and they think we're a one-trick pony, that all we have are these enormous pizzas that are boat anchors or lasagna in a bread bowl. And that's part of the story, but we really have four styles of pizza that were born here. We have tavern-style thin, also known as Chicago thin, very thin and crispy, cut into little squares, deep dish, deep pan, and stuff.
Deep dish does not reign supreme among many of the locals.
If you ask anybody who grew up in the city of Chicago, they will tell you they grew up on thin pizza, which I know is hard to believe, but most people will tell you they grew up on Chicago thin, which is that square cut, thin and crispy. And it's kind of a mind blower for people from outside of Chicago, but it's true.
Chicago, a city serving up great food and always a tasty slice of fun. You gotta love Chicago. And Shed Aquarium, by the way, just up the road from us, is one of many places kids and grown-ups like to visit in this city. And we've been telling stories about some of our friends at Shed Aquarium since Nightly News Kids Edition launched way back in 2020. At the beginning of the pandemic, these shed penguins became famous when a routine field trip was shared on social media, and the videos went viral. And since we're in town, we thought we would pay them a visit.
My name is Sarah. I'm one of the animal care specialists that work here at Shed Aquarium. And joining me today is one of our rockhopper chicks. The number right now is 27. We don't know if it's a male or female, as well as we don't have a name for the chick yet. So the rockhopper chick was hatched in mid-June, and you could kind of see different feathers are coming through. They are only about a couple months old, so during this time, we're doing a lot of exploring. So whether it's going on field trips inside Shed Aquarium, maybe going behind the scenes, or going in front of other habitats to see how they interact with other animals. It's very enriching for our animals. It's very similar if you guys have pets at home. You take your dog for a walk, giving them that good exercise is really fun and enjoyable for us to build that relationship with our animals. So 27 here right now, as of the last couple weeks, have been going on field trips. So we have brought 27 to our offices behind the scenes, as well as in front of Penguin Exhibit, being able to see a different view of what our exhibit looks like, as well as being able to see our sea otters and our dolphins and our beluga whales. And during that time, we'll start introducing them to some fish that we feed from us as staff. So during that time, we're working on building our relationship with our chicks. So whether it's interacting with fish or even offering maybe their favorite toy or enrichment item, they definitely do a lot of exploring. An interesting fact about penguins is they go from being about palm size to full-grown adult in 3 months. So during this time, our chicks are roughly about 2 months right now, and they weigh between 4 and 6 pounds as an adult. And both of our chicks, Rockhopper 26 and 27, have met that milestone of consistently growing at a healthy weight each day. And you guys might notice that the feathers look a little bit different as opposed to the wings, maybe on the chest and on the back. You could see some of those waterproof feathers coming in right now on the chick, as opposed to some of the little fluffy feathers on the back. So it's really important that before the chicks go swimming or start exploring a little bit closer to the water, our chicks have those waterproof feathers in to keep them nice and warm and dry when they go for their first swim. So this is Edward. He's one of our adult rock hoppers. He is about 22 years old, and he's the father of one of our rock hopper chicks that you guys were able to view earlier. So Edward, you'll be able to see his feathers look different, right? So he has all those waterproof feathers already in, and then he also has those yellow crested feathers. So when penguins are first hatched, they don't have those crest feathers until they go through their yearly molt, and then eventually they'll start looking like Edward. So Edward is a great example of connecting our animals to our public. So the viewers at home not being able to come and visit Shed Aquarium, you guys could always check us out on social media and be able to see some of those fun field trips as well as what we get to do every single day, whether it's research, conservation, or even helping out those animals out in their natural environment.
Well, thanks so much to our friends at Shed Aquarium. Well, in keeping with our animal theme, time for our picture of the week. Just days ago, Jambi made his public debut at the Philadelphia Zoo. Born in late June, the baby orangutan was seen mostly clinging to his mother. Zookeepers say his mom continues to be an excellent mother, nursing and holding Jambi all the time. The zoo also notes that orangutan children have the longest childhood of any species other than people, telling us they're going to hang out with mom for 6 to 8 years before they move off and get their own territory. Sumatran orangutans are listed as critically endangered. Jambi is named after a city on the island of Sumatra where this species lives in the wild. Finally, in our Inspiring Kids series, a group of children from Peoria, Illinois are coming together for a very important cause. Let's get details from our friend Maria Heim.
When life gives you lemons, make a lemonade stand. That's what one group of kids did.
We're back!
Save the day. Kickin Cancer in the Knolls.
But this isn't just any lemonade stand. Every summer, a group of kids from Peoria, Illinois organize a lemonade stand to raise money for St. Jude Children's Research Hospital.
It's called Kickin Cancer in the Knolls, and it starts 10 to 1, and we set up everything, and then we had a DJ this year.
St. Jude is a charity that helps research childhood cancer cures and works to defeat the disease. They also help provide cancer treatment for kids and families in financial need. Kids from this Peoria neighborhood have been raising money for 14 years, and it's hard work.
We have a lot of jobs we do. So setting up, we make the lemonade, somebody will bring it over. We had to get the coolers for the lemonade. We had to get the baked goods and set them under the table. And then we had to set up the tables and snow cone shade.
And guess what? This group beat their fundraising goal this year, raising more than $30,000. Sales from their homemade t-shirts go towards helping kids with cancer locally and beyond.
If we can teach our kids the importance of serving others at a young age, just to carry that with them for the rest of their lives, even if they can't make huge monetary donations, even donating their time in something like this.
And they're already planning next year's lemonade stand, setting new goals, supporting kids in need, and fighting for a cure.
It feels really good, just helping of course St. Jude, but even the community. Everyone loves to help the kids of St. Jude, and it's just really happy, and I love doing it with all my friends, and especially helping.
Showing that even one glass of lemonade can make a difference.
Our little lemonade stand might not seem like a lot, but we know that every single dollar counts. They're never too small, and big impact.
Kickin Cancer in the Knolls! Yeah!
Maria, thanks so much. And kids, way to go. Well, that's going to do it for us parents. Just a reminder, if your child has a question about any topic in the news, email a video to us at nightlynewskids@nbcuni.com, and we'll try to answer them in an upcoming episode. You can also follow us on Instagram @NightlyKids. Thanks for watching, and remember, take care of yourself and each other. So long from Chicago.